Here is story number 2 on how the government actually works. Now, a lot of healthcare companies and pharmaceutical companies are going to go on the warpath here against Obama's plan because they're going to lose some money from it. Now, you, the American taxpayer, will gain some money because your costs will go down, but they don't want to see that. The healthcare companies and the pharmaceutical companies want to see higher and higher profits. And if it comes from your ass, what do they care? If it comes from the government, great, right? So now we're going to have this war. And how do they conduct this war? And how do they get their soldiers for it? Well, there is where we go to an excellent example of Senator Orrin Hatch. And actually, the conservative Washington Times broke this story, and it's very instructive. Now, I want to be very clear, Senator Hatch is not doing anything illegal he is being influenced by these healthcare companies. What's sad about this story is how legal all of it is. Now, they started by breaking the story of how they are, these companies, including the Pharmaceutical Research and Manufacturers of America, that is, a lot of those companies pull together for a PR and lobbying group, and that's their group, right? How they are giving money to a charity by Orrin that was started by Orrin Hatch partially, and that Orrin Hatch is still involved in. Now, there could be worse ways to influence a politician. The fact that they're giving to a charity, that's a positive thing. But does it influence Orrin Hatch to support them more? Undoubtedly. Now, they've poured in $172,500 to that charity and we found out about this. It's called the Utah Families Foundation because they accidentally gave over, I'm not sure which mechanism led to this revelation, but we found out their IRS report and we found out where the charity's money is coming from. Now, it was a mistake and we shouldn't have found that out, but it's out now out in the press. And you see that they're getting all this money from the pharmaceutical companies. You say, why the hell is Utah Families Foundation getting all this money from all these pharmaceutical companies? Well, that's because Orrin Hatch is involved and they want to influence Orrin Hatch. Now, if it just stopped there, I'd say, you know what, that's fairly benign. He wants this charity to do better, and he's going to vote with the healthcare companies anyway. All right. But, of course, it doesn't stop there. And as you read the story, you find out there are more things involved. There are trips that are paid for by these companies. For example, in 2006 alone, Mr. Hatch took 7 trips costing a total of $12,000, all sponsored by Pfizer and GlaxoSmithKline, 2 top pharmaceutical companies. So he gets to fly around on a private jet all he wants. Now, you think if he starts voting against those guys, he still gets to fly on the private jet to do his 7 different trips? Probably not, right? And that's point number 2. Point number 3 is, hey, look, when he needed money for his campaign, God, who was there to help him out? And it turns out it was the pharmaceutical companies again. Remember, he ran for president in 2000. You might not remember because he didn't do very well. He was barely in the race. But he needed a private jet to fly around while he's campaigning. Let's see how that worked. Oh, it turns out he got a complimentary Gulfstream executive jet provided by drug maker Schering Plough Corporation. And, all right, well, you say, okay, he got the trips, he got the private jet, he's getting money to his charity, but did that really make a difference? Well, after his 2000 campaign, Orrin Hatch drafted legislation extending that specific drug company's patent on the drug Claritin. You scratch my back, I scratch your back. That's how it works. Now, but that's not all. My favorite part of this is the family scam. Orrin Hatch's son is a lobbyist. In fact, he has a company called Walker, Martin & Hatch, where he's a partner. Now, they're not paying Orrin Hatch money, right, to vote their way. And they're not saying, hey, if we hire your son for these things, then maybe you'll vote our way. But are there winks and nods? Of course! No, they say, no, the Hatch family says, no, you don't understand. My son doesn't even lobby. You don't know that your son is being paid by these companies? Let me explain to you that the pharmaceutical and medical companies that have business in front of Orrin Hatch since 2001 have given $1.5 million in money to Orrin Hatch's son's company. But they said that's just a wild coincidence. He just happens to be a terrific lobbyist, and we're having him lobby other members of the Senate. You don't think that Orrin Hatch knows that that money is getting funneled to his son? Of course he does. So, why would Orrin Hatch vote against any pharmaceutical company? Why would he vote for any health care plan that would hurt their bottom line? If it means that his son is going to get $1.5 million less over a span of years, right, or his son's company, or in fact might even be unemployed one day if these lobbyists go out of business, and his trips all across the world are going to dry up. If he ever runs, he's not going to get the campaign contributions that he normally does. And by the way, do these companies also give campaign contributions to Orrin Hatch? Once again, of course! Now, I didn't even bother telling you about that because that's so obvious. Is he going to be able to run for a higher office? No. And by the way, if all this wasn't enough, he also has $18,000 in stock in these companies, so he would want that stock to perform a little bit better too. So this is how the lobbyists and these companies secretly control our senators. You know, you do right by us, we do right by you. You think that there's any chance in the world Orrin Hatch votes against these companies given all that his family's getting from them? And the answer is, hell no! As my friend Ed Reed would say, hell no! That's not how it's going to work. And all of it is legal, and that's the way the system is set up, and that's the way our politicians are bought up.